Good afternoon, a very warm welcome to the Q&A session here from the University of Suffolk. Thank you to all of those who are joining us on Facebook and YouTube. I've been joined this afternoon by four of our academics representing, in fact, all of the four academic departments here at the University of Suffolk, here to answer any questions you might have about studying here at the University of Suffolk, anything to do with student life here at Suffolk, and generally any questions you might have at all. Before I introduce our esteemed guests here, just to let you know, if you do have any questions, just stick them in the chat. So any questions that come in on Facebook or YouTube, just pop your questions in the chat there. They'll come straight through to us. Today is all about you and your questions, so we're relying on your questions coming in, and I'll put the questions straight through to the academics here. So without further ado, I'm going to ask my guests to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they teach here at the University of Suffolk. So Suzanne, can we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Dr. Suzanne Aubrey. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the course leader for business management in the Suffolk Business School, and I'm here to answer any of your kind of business school questions, whether that's about business management, our events, tourism and marketing programs, or accounting and finance. Fantastic.
Gavin, would you like to go next?
Hello, I'm Dr. Gavin Devereux, and I'm the head of sports sciences at the University of Suffolk. So I look after degrees like sports and exercise science, sport performance analysis, exercise prescription and public health, and also the physiotherapy degree, which will start from September 2022.
Wonderful. Susan.
Okay, unmuted. Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Barnett. I'm the course leader for fine art.
Thank you very much. And David.
Hello, I'm David James. I'm the course leader for sociology and also the criminology and politics courses here at the University of Suffolk. So very happy to answer any questions you might have about any of those courses.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, David. So we've got a real wide range of topics covered today. So anything from business to sports sciences through to fine art and then to social sciences and humanities with David there. So if you have any questions specifically for those courses, do get them in. Just put your questions in the chat there and we'll do our very best to answer those questions as they come in. Now, we have had a few questions come in earlier on in the day. So one of them was for to do with business. So Suzanne, we had a question about business engagement. Someone has seen that on the course pages. We're a bit unsure about what it means. What is business engagement?
That's a really good question, actually, and I think one that can confuse a lot of people, not just students, but academics as well. So I think business engagement covers a huge amount of things, but when we talk about it on our course pages, what we mean is how we get businesses, organisations, charities, public sector involved in how we deliver our modules, what we're teaching, giving live case studies, that kind of thing. So business engagement for the Suffolk Business School happens across all of our modules, across all of our degrees. And it might mean something like a representative from Suffolk Mind, for example, the charity, coming in and offering a case study to our marketing students, or having startup businesses like the Coffee Caravan coming onto campus and talking about how they started up their business, and offering our events and tourism students some kind of real life examples of the kinds of things that they do, the kinds of events that they go to, and that kind of stuff. So it covers a huge range of options about getting businesses involved in our teaching and the learning for our students. But it's a really important part of what we do at the University of Suffolk more generally.
Fantastic. I think you've cleared that up very nicely. Thanks, Suzanne. Kushan, I can see you've just popped a message in there about your conditional offer and your Ielts score. My advice would be to get in touch with the admissions department here at the university. So that's admissions@uos.ac.uk. If you send over the transcripts from your Ielts qualifications, they'll be able to have a look at that and tell you if they're still able to offer you a place based on what you've got there. I probably couldn't do that myself right here, but if you get in touch with the admissions people, they will definitely be able to give you an answer for that. We've had a question from Karen come in asking about fine arts in clearing. I think we'll have to talk about clearing, I think, a little bit later to sort of clear what it is. But she's asked, will you need to see a portfolio if she applies through clearing, Susan?
Yeah, absolutely. All of our fine art applicants go through a portfolio review and interview process so we can see what you're doing and where you're at and be able to help you figure out the best possible place for you.
Excellent. And just for those of you who are thinking of applying to start university this September, you can still apply for courses here through clearing. Clearing's a little bit different from the usual UCAS application process. With clearing, you can apply directly to us. So if you get in touch with our admissions team here at the university, you can make a direct application for the courses that still have places available. We can usually give you an answer to whether we'll be able to make you an offer pretty quickly within a day or two. So it's not too late. Do get in touch with us. We've got the hotline is 01473 338 352, or if you just look for clearing on the UOS website, you'll find more information about how to get in touch with us and how you can still make those applications before September this year. We've also had a question come in from Natasha about sports science. So for you, Gavin, just asking about the types of careers that the degree in sports science might prepare you for.
Okay, yeah, I mean, a really broad set of careers on offer. Perhaps, hopefully, you can all be the judge of whether it's a good way to think about it. But hopefully a good way of thinking about it is to split the careers in two. One being you could work in what we might call elite sports science support. So working with teams, with individual athletes to enhance performance in an elite setting. That could be from professional football, rugby, tennis, into the Olympic sports. Or you can apply exercise science in clinical health settings. So working with cardiac patients, respiratory patients, and believe it or not, with a career in sports and exercise science, so with a degree in sports and exercise science, you could even work in sleep physiology, so help people sleep better. So that's probably the best way to think of it, is split it in two: elite sport performance or clinical exercise science. And then within those disciplines, there are further options. So take elite sport, you could work on conditioning athletes or players in team sport, so physical conditioning, things like strength and conditioning. Or you could work with video software technology, looking at the tactics of team and individual sports. So that's what the performance analysis degree is for. And then in the clinical exercise science realm of work, you could be a physiologist, so working with a cardiac patient, understanding how the heart behaves and how to use exercise as a therapy to help treat someone. Or you could go down the psychology route and eventually end up as a clinical psychologist. And also, because you are a science graduate, you gain a whole host of skills in things like working with data and being an objective scientist. So even though it might not be what you're thinking of right now, industries like the banking industry, insurance industry, they really like science graduates because of their data analysis skills. So it's incredibly broad. Teaching's another. We have a number of students each year that go into teaching as well. So huge variety of options. And usually the students sort of refine their preferences through their degree, because they might study something and think, oh, I really enjoyed that. I want to do that as part of my career.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds like there's lots and lots of different options open up to graduates in the sports sciences. David, I was just wondering if I could come to you with the same question. Someone who was studying one of the social sciences here at the University of Suffolk, what career paths are open? Where do your students tend to go on to after they've finished here?
I mean, some of it depends upon which of the social sciences you might be studying. So if you're studying sociology, then one of the things students might go on after they graduate, they might go on in terms of research, particularly in terms of marketing. So most marketing is based upon social science research skills there. You will also, exactly as Gavin was mentioning, about being data literate, being able to do stuff with data. That's something that our graduates have. And so that opens up quite a number of different careers in terms of analysis, in terms of research there. If you were to study, for example, criminology, then there's obviously your knowledge and expertise in about different areas of the criminal justice system. So recent graduates have gone on to train as prison officers, to work in other aspects of the criminal justice system, to work in probation. Some have gone on previously to work in the police force, whether that's front or back in terms of where you're located there, and indeed in politics as well. So quite a number of politics graduates are actively looking for work with a number of, for example, non-governmental organizations. Others are looking to work in the lobbying industry, as we might say, but to influence, to shape opinion, to try to alter laws and policies here. So there's a wide range. I think the other thing that I think Gavin mentioned, which is really important to note, is that to think that a degree gives you certain things that employers want, the ability to work to your own timescales, to produce work independently, to think creatively, to organize your own time, to plan small projects by yourself. So there's lots of things that you can do as a graduate, and those are the skills that graduate employers are looking for. They're looking for somebody who will be able to learn things quickly and to pick up on things very quickly and to be very organized in that way. Hopefully that gives a little bit of an insight.
I think that's a great answer, David. And we were speaking to a number of younger people this morning who are thinking of applying to university. And that point really came across, of these skills that you're going to learn at university that are really transferable across, a number of different careers, have been picked out specifically because it's what employers are looking for. And a lot of the skills that the degrees here are based on what we think will help you in a future career, whatever that career is. We had a few more questions coming. Let's just have a look at that. Mershad, I know you've asked about your pre-CAS interview. Again, it's very difficult for us to say here how long it will take for the results to come through. Again, I would just try and be in contact with the admissions team as far as possible to speak with them. They would be able to give you a better idea of how long that would take. We've had one question come in about the facilities at the university. Now, this is usually a difficult question to answer, but as we have representatives of all four schools here, I think we can probably cover most bases. So, Susan, would you like to tell us about the facilities over that you have in fine art and in the arts block?
Absolutely. So, we have amazing facilities, and they range from our large studio space, in which covers the top floor of the arts building, from one end of the building to the other. All along the side of the wall there's the windows out onto the trees below, and each fine arts student has their own small studio space within that large studio. And then within that, you are able to use the workshops, and our workshop facilities range from a state-of-the-art printmaking facility, which ranges from technicals, machinery, ranging from the 19th century through the 20th century to the 21st century. We just got a new Riso printer, which is fantastic, and you can do book pressing and screen printing and block printing and lino cuts. We also have a large woodworking facility with a range of opportunities to work with wood, a metalworking facility, sculpture studio with ceramics and plaster casting, a spray booth so you can work with spray paints. We have 3D printing. We have all of these facilities are staffed by incredibly knowledgeable and helpful technicians who guide the students through these different activities that, of course, when you start on the course, you are given an induction into this range of mediums and technical skills so that you get a bit of an understanding of how all these things work individually and independently, but also how they might overlap, how something kind of like an old-fashioned book press might also be used with a digital image that you've created on your computer. So all of these skills and techniques are the heart of the fine art course, basically, and how we help you, guide you to develop the skills and the themes that you want to pursue as an artist.
Fantastic, fantastic. Suzanne, how about at the business school? What facilities are available and do you make use of with your students there?
So we're really lucky at the University of Suffolk. We've got a really good set of sort of more general facilities that are available across the wider university. So things like our library is really excellent. We've got a really good range of both in-print, in-person books, but also online access, e-books access, access to things like databases and journal archives, that kind of thing. We've got a number of computer stations available, and some really nice facilities and space on campus where we can do group work, some really nice lecture rooms, seminar rooms, particularly in the new Hold building, which is really exciting, which is between our waterfront building and our atrium building. But a lot of the kind of the facilities, the access that we have at the Suffolk Business School is a lot of digital work, a lot of digital platforms. So, for example, in your first year and your final year, you might take entrepreneurship modules where we use a dedicated program called SimVenture, which really allows you to get into developing a business idea and going through a simulated business plan and modeling like that. So we have really good quality specialist software to help support the learning and teaching. Which is one of the things that we're really excited about. And we do have computer labs that we timetable sessions in. So if you don't have your own laptop or computer, you're still able to access all of that on campus as well.
Very good. They sound like the students are very, very well looked after there by the business school. David, over on your side, what facilities can students expect and take advantage of on your courses?
Well, I mean, one is that everybody can see. So the space behind you there, Owen, that's one of the key lecture spaces on the campus. And up there are the mezzanine areas, which are the breakout areas, study areas, which are where students can congregate. There's lots of PCs available there. There's group workspace there. There's also, as Suzanne mentioned before, there's all the different pods, different learning spaces in the library, from the more noisy, working as a group areas with food, with drinks there. And then there's the very quiet spaces that are available in the library. So there's a whole range of different spaces where you can actually work. In terms of some of the more technical, techie kind of stuff, there's obviously the wide range of computers that are on campus, but a really important thing is the software on it. So you will use throughout your degree, you'll get to play around with different software packages. So whether that's things like SPSS, whether it's things like Atlas, whether it's some of the other referencing systems, and a lot of the other software you'll get as a member of the university. So everyone always gets access to the full Office 365 suite, all of the Adobe suites, lots of things that would usually set you back as an individual around about £1,000 a pop. So it's very much this sort of digital access to a lot of the suites that you have there, as well as the really nice building, the facilities, the community university atmosphere, I think. So not far from where Owen is there, then there is the lovely waterfront with the cafes, the facilities there. That being at university is about interacting with other people. It's about making friends. It's about making contacts. It's about finding friends there. So I think that's a really important thing that our campus and the facilities there will help you to do.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that, David. I am sat in the one of our auditoriums at the moment. I was actually asked this morning by a student why I was sitting in a bar which they presumed that it was. But I think it's the lighting in here perhaps makes it feel like that. Gavin, coming on to, I mean, I imagine you've got very specialist facilities that you use over in sports science. Do you want to just take us through what students could expect if they were studying with you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll give you a brief couple of examples. So I'll link it back to the careers really, because we have a philosophy in our area of you learn by doing, and we need to help you gain employment relevant skills in a friendly, safe environment. So the first time that you're maybe taking an ECG of a person's heart function is not in a hospital. So on the clinical exercise side, we have incredibly specialist exercise equipment. And if I said a treadmill, people might think, well, a treadmill's a treadmill. I can assure you a treadmill is not necessarily just a treadmill. There are very specialist requirements for testing athletes or patients, but you could run a full test. So using exercise as the challenge, looking at the function of the heart, looking for things like the presence of arrhythmia in the heart. If you've ever seen it on things like documentaries on the television, where usually athletes would wear a face mask whilst exercising, and the air they're breathing in and out is being analysed, looking at how, for example, good your aerobic energy system is. So we have all of that. And then on the performance analysis side, we use software and provide software to students to use that are used in the highest levels of sport. So Premier League football, international football, and it's global relevance too. So over in the States and the likes of the NBA, basketball, American football, you get to use the real software that is used in industry. And again, we have that philosophy of learning by doing. So you get to use it from year one.
Brilliant. So I mean, the same as the top superstars in the world.
Yeah. So we were told by the suppliers of the performance analysis software, to give you an example, that we had more licenses than I think all but 3 or 4 Premier League football teams. So it was sort of the hub of performance analysis software availability in the UK, barring 3 or 4 Premier League teams. So yeah, pretty impressive.
That is very impressive indeed. I'm aware we've had loads of questions come in, so I'm very quickly going to run through and see if I can answer any of the ones off the top of my head here. Thank you, Imran. Yes, we do business and management. Hopefully, Suzanne has answered your question about the facilities here and gone through that. Amy, the DBS packs for adult nursing will be going out very shortly. I'm sorry that you haven't had yours yet. They've got loads to get through. I know they're very, very busy at the moment sorting all that out, but you will be getting your DBS information through very soon. With interviews, it can take a while. It can take up to a week or 2 to get information back. Again, the best people to contact are the admissions team. They're very happy to keep you up to date on what's going on. So again, admissions@uos.ac.uk. Mel, I can see that you haven't met the requirements of your conditional offer. Again, what I would do is, first thing is to speak to the admissions department. Let them know that you've got your results back. Give them your results and see what they can do with it first. Harry, I mean, a criminal record would be something that you would need to tell an employer when you apply for your job. It wouldn't necessarily stop you from being accepted. I think employers will look at it on a case-by-case basis. So, I mean, I can't really give you an answer to that, but yeah, you'd have to show your employer that. Yes, yeah. Again, admissions would be the people to talk to you about your CAS letter. I really wouldn't know how long it takes to come through. And I believe that we've put some links in about adult nursing in there that you can check. I'm very, very happy to hear that the interviewer was very friendly. We can't wait to meet you too. Shouldn't be too long now. Amy, you can apply for your car parking permit probably about a month before you get here. We will send you all of the information about that. We'll send you the link. It's really easy. You just fill a form online and you can print your car parking permit out there and then at home. So don't worry about that. You'll get that before you come. If you don't, there's usually a couple of weeks where there's a couple of weeks grace period. So if you don't have a printer at home, when you get to university, you'll be able to print your car parking permit off here. Let's have a look. Karen has asked about, we'll talk about class sizes in a minute, but Anna has asked about the library possibly being slightly limited. We have just touched on the library there. I know Suzanne was talking about it. Has the library been stocked over the past year? Might not need books for... David, the library. I'm not quite sure if you can answer that question directly, but can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the best way to think about the library is as a place where you can go, you can study, a place that holds some of the texts and materials that you will need as a student, but it's also, and this is increasingly so, it is an online space. It is the place where you get behind the publisher paywalls. We have a really large quantity of online ebooks that are available to all of our students. The range has increased massively over the past 2 years. There is also, and this is really, really important for studying at university and all of the disciplines around here, is access to journals. And we have a fantastic selection of journals. Most of the main journals in the world are accessible, and you can get full text access to those. You have incredible access to the knowledge of the world that is there. So it is very much, and I think one of the really important things is, as well as having all of this material, is we have a fantastic library team, and each area has a librarian, a subject librarian, and they are there to show you the information literacy skills so that you can find the stuff there. One of the main difficulties that many students have is actually how to sift and sort the vast quantity of material that is in the library, and to make those judgments about, yeah, that's a really good source, oh, I'm not so sure about that. And that building up those skills, that's something that all of our courses will be doing, particularly for students in their first year, to that's an information literacy, sifting and sorting, and being able to make maximum use of what is a really, really good facility for students.
And just backing up on that, another thing that the library offers is the library and learning services, which when you come to university, it can be a little daunting at first. When you're transferring from level 3 to level 4 study, that, you know, learning to take notes in lectures, perhaps referencing, are things that might be new to you. The library has a team of people that run workshops, run masterclasses, where you can learn about these things and improve your study skills that you might need for the courses that you're on. A lot of the information and the workshops that they run are also online. And you can access that through the Library and Learning Services website. So, I mean, in addition to what David was saying about the fantastic facilities that they offer, they do also offer this support available to all students from day one when you get to the university. So something else to bear in mind about the library. Just going back to Karen's question about class sizes at Suffolk, I think the best thing to do here is to ask you guys about the sizes and how many you'd have in your cohort. So, Susan, what are class sizes like in fine art?
Well, we are really rather small, which allows us to be incredibly individual based. So you get an enormous amount of individual attention with your tutors, as well as, you know, we are very much interested in what we call studio culture, which means that you interact with your fellow students within your year group and across year groups. So it kind of becomes, you know, a real collaborative engagement. We really build a community as a fine art course. Roughly at this stage, the years are about 12 to 14 students per year. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to engage and really work as you really get to work as an individual with a lot of support from your tutors because of that.
I mean, I imagine that's very unusual to have such a small class size with access to tutors and lecturers, for example.
And all of the workshop equipment that I mentioned earlier, because I used to teach in London at an art school that you had to book 2 weeks in advance to get any access to a workshop facility. At the University of Suffolk in fine art, if you come in on a morning and decide you really want to start doing some work with clay, you're working with clay that afternoon. And yeah, definitely that kind of access to your tutors, across the week, where you have 2 full days at least working with your tutors, is really unheard of. It's a real special kind of situation, and we're really proud of that. And it's really exciting for us because all of the faculty in fine art are all we're internationally exhibiting and working artists ourselves. So we really thrive on that kind of engagement as well. So yeah, it's special.
Fantastic. Suzanne, what are the numbers like over in the business school?
We're quite lucky in the fact that we also have smaller class sizes to make sure that you get that kind of access to your tutors. So it can depend on the modules that you're taking. So for example, some of our core modules are a little bigger, but the seminars that you'll be taking, you'll be divided into smaller groups. Normally no more than around 20 students in a class across 2 hours. So that, it tends to be they're longer sessions. So you really do get the opportunity to work peer-to-peer, so with other students, but also with the tutors. Whereas you'll have some modules that, particularly the optional modules, you'll have fewer students on them. So, and depending on the course that you're taking, it might be that there are fewer students. So at the moment, our accounting and financial courses are quite small. You get really good access to the tutors. The optional modules, by the time you hit sort of level 5 and level 6, will have around sort of 10 to 15 students on a module. But one of the things that we do make sure that we do, and that we're kind of continually working on developing, is the extra support that surround those modules. So the extra tutorial support, the one-to-one tutorials that you can book with your module tutors, with your lecturers. Every student that comes into the Suffolk Business School, in fact, I think every student that comes into the University of Suffolk is assigned a personal academic coach, where they get one-to-one or group coaching sessions to really help support your development or support your academic studies throughout your degree. And you can book sessions, one-to-one sessions with academic skills advisors, careers and employability support staff. So while you might be in a class of between 10 and 20 students in a particular module, in a particular seminar, that doesn't mean that's the only access that you have to support throughout the university, whether that's actually the learning and teaching you're doing or kind of the wider university experience.
Wow, that's a lot of support available to the students there. David, could I ask you also about that? Class sizes, but also both Susan and Suzanne, they've mentioned about access that students have to their tutors. Could I ask, how do students on your course, how can they get in touch? How do you make yourselves available to students if they have questions or they need support?
Okay, there's a number of ways. The first way is after a class, you can have a quick chat, a quick 5 minutes at the start, at the end of the classes. The seminars are on campus. For our area, then the class sizes range in many of our specialist modules. It'll be around about 15 people or so. In some of the larger groups, maybe 70, 80 or so. But we always make sure that for the seminars that you are in a smaller group of around about 20 or so there. So there is, again, that scale. It's very much a human size where you can interact well with others and learn well with others there. In terms of contact, we have sign-up areas, so you can make appointments to chat with tutors. We'll we give you the link in our online learning environment, and you click and you can make contact there. So you can, in the coming year, you'll be able to meet us one-to-one in some of the breakout areas just behind where Owen is there. We'll also be maintaining access through things like Microsoft Teams as well for tutorials, particularly as we know that a number of students, some will live in Athena halls, will live on campus, others might live 10, 15, 20 miles away, in which case it's actually really beneficial to be able to do Teams for a 20-minute tutorial there. So it's very simple and easy to access tutorials, both for each module. And I think just to accentuate what Suzanne said about the personal academic coach, that every student will be assigned a personal academic coach who will be there to support you through your studies. Okay, and that's really important, that human scale of the University of Suffolk.
Thank you very much, David. I don't want to jump the gun here, Gavin, but I'm imagining that you're not going to tell us you have huge class sizes and you never talk to the students over on over in sports science. Do you just want to tell us a little bit about class sizes there and how you interact, or how you make yourself available for students as well?
Yeah, sure. So I would say across all of the sports sciences degrees, and so I mean sports and exercise science, sport performance analysis, and exercise prescription and public health, the biggest, and when I say module, just in case people are not familiar with the term module yet, it's basically a subject you study for a number of weeks and you do a number of modules in a year. So and a module can either be mandatory, you have to do it because we say so, because it's good for the subject, you need it, or it can be optional where you get to choose from a range. So in the biggest module we have in our area, you'd probably be with up to 50 or 60 students, fellow students, which is a nice size to give you, breadth of different interests, different backgrounds, different, avenues into one of the degrees. And then as my colleagues have mentioned, when you get into optional modules, because people have different preferences, the groups get smaller because they split up into the different options. So you could have a group as small as 12, maybe 10. And so it's a slightly different environment there. And we think that mix is nice. Of course, we have to be careful, because if we say, look, you use the very best software in performance analysis, then we can't take 600 students and have 20 licenses for software. So we make a promise to you that you learn by doing, then we have to deliver that and make sure that you can access those specialist facilities. And I think what I would say to you is completely impartial advice, dare I offer it as on a university event, but think about the kind of environment you want to study in. Some people like the idea in the sports sciences across the UK, some universities might take in 600 students in 1 year. Some people might love that because it's so different to anything they've experienced to date. And fine, that might make you think, oh my word, no, that's not for me. I would prefer smaller groups because of, whatever, the way I learn. So I think that's one of the most important things to consider about the environment in which you want to learn the subject you're choosing. Huge, enormous campus and groups and massive lecture theatres, auditoriums, because it's different, it's unique, it's a university, and that's the university experience you want, or those smaller groups. And we would, of course, champion the strengths of those smaller groups because of the interaction between staff and student. We get to know you. We get to know your preferences, what you're good at, what you're not so good at, how to support you with your career preferences that have been raised as well. So we would champion the slightly smaller approach, but consider what's best for you.
Thanks a lot, Gavin. Again, I can see we've got lots and lots of comments coming in. A lot of people talking about their CAS interviews. Again, we can't really discuss CAS interviews here, but again, you'll need to contact our admissions team about that. We've got a question coming from Abu Jafar. Hi, I know you've been to some of these events before, asking about Athena Hall. So Athena Hall is the on-campus accommodation here at the university. I think the most important thing you need to know about Athena Hall is all of the rooms are en suite. you do not need to share a bathroom with anyone if you stay in Athena Hall. It's usually the first question we get asked. So that's the most important thing. A modern building, not quite sure how old it is, but certainly less than 10 years old. You mean when you look at and compare university accommodation, you might find that a lot of buildings are a lot older than that. Obviously, this is a relatively new building. The fixtures and fittings are all new in there. Within Athena Hall itself, we have laundry facilities. We have a common room. The students absolutely love the Amazon lockers, so you can get your stuff delivered overnight from Amazon if you're in Athena Hall. Most of the flats have a shared living and kitchen space that you would share with 4 or 5 other students. But remember, you don't share the bathroom. Everyone has their own bathroom there in Athena Hall. We've also had a question from Brandon about employment and career support while studying at the university. Susan, did you want to touch on this?
Sure, I'd love to. It's such an interesting topic in terms of fine art degrees, because I think there's a misunderstanding that if you're taking a fine art, if you're doing a fine art degree, you're not going to earn any money and you don't care about being employed, which is not the case at all. I personally am an artist, and I know many artists. None of us are starving. No one is sitting up in an attic with a bottle of booze in their hand and unable to earn a crust of bread. We're all doing very well, thank you. And we focus on one of the strands of fine art course at University of Suffolk is what we call professional practice. And we have relationships with a lot of local and national arts organizations where we bring in people to tell us and show us how they navigate the various kinds of commercial opportunities in the art world. Because you can go on and do a lot of things. You can certainly be a commissioning artist with your own practice, and you can make and have an Etsy online presence and sell work, or you can exhibit in galleries or biennales internationally. You can go into arts administration. You can work in museums and art galleries up front and behind the scenes. You can go into things like art therapy and arts education. Obviously, that's something I'm very keen on because I both am a practicing, exhibiting international artist as well as an educator. So we have a lot of those opportunities made available to our students, and we have kind of internships with some arts organizations where you can go and work with various different arts organizations to see how you might like some of these various opportunities. And then we also have a lot of commission options and opportunities that come through us. So students start exhibiting their work from the very first year. You're engaging in doing your exhibitions through classes, the modules that Gavin was mentioning. You do exhibitions as a group or as a small group. You may come across a commission from an external body outside of the university and do something like a mural for an organization. So there's a lot of focus on how to translate what you learn in the fine art course afterwards, post-degree. And one of the things that I think is primary is on the fine art course, you learn very strong critical skills that help you navigate your journey after your degree. Do you want to do a postgraduate degree? Do you want to earn money right away? Do you want to do different things at different times? I think that's what we're really good at, helping you build the confidence, the skills, and the awareness to navigate what happens after you complete your degree in fine art.
Wow, it sounds like your students are fully prepared to navigate that, Susan.
They are.
Really good.
Also, shout out to Pencil Pusher. Yeah, we like Michael Craig Martin. All right.
I'm sure that makes sense to him. Gavin, Just touching there on career support, is that something that your students would take advantage of while they're studying here as well?
Yeah, and I think it links a number of the topics we've already discussed about group sizes, about why you would do the degree in the first place. And I'll give a sort of sport exercise context if that's okay. But I'd imagine my colleagues will have, similar sort of, there are similar sort of reasons for this in different disciplines. And that is, when you're studying your degree, take every opportunity you can to gain experience that's related to your area of study. So in a sport and exercise context, what do I mean by that? If we say to our students, we have an athlete coming into the human performance laboratory, would anybody like to come and assist with a VO2 max test, so a test of their aerobic fitness? Or we might say, this football club or this basketball club have some recorded games and they would really like to understand some of the the analysis behind performance. Would anyone like to do this? I would encourage all of you to say yes, even if, and this is what we find that's quite common in our area, if the example of that, let's say a marathon runner coming to have a fitness test in our laboratory, and somebody might think, oh, but I don't really like the marathon, I want to work in football. It doesn't matter. Because what you're doing is you're showing a proactive attitude, a willingness to learn. And especially in the sports sciences, one of the trickiest questions you'll face at interview for that first graduate career is, tell me what experiences you have working with athletes or coaches. And you might be sat there thinking, well, I don't have any. I'm applying for my first job. But the university can give you a chance to gain those experiences. So always take advantage of them, because they won't say in football, in tennis, in basket. It will be working with athletes or coaches in general. How have you applied your knowledge? Give us some examples. And that goes back to also the module sizes. Now I will sound like a salesperson, where big can be fine, small can be fine. But maybe in a smaller, more personal environment, it's just true that it can be easier to get those experiences, because if you are a keen, proactive student willing to undertake those extracurricular experiences, quite simply, you have fewer fellow students to share that time with. So that would be one of the benefits, one of the merits of studying at a slightly more personal institution, would be my argument.
Yeah, that does sort of tie in with a lot of the things we've been discussing already. Just wanted to pick on something that Susan said before about internships. Suzanne, is that something that would be available on courses in the business school?
Absolutely. I mean, we work really hard with the businesses community, just as the same as everybody else here, to make sure that they're getting, our students are getting experiences with professionals within the university, within this the idea of this slightly safer environment, because we're here to support that professional development. But it's absolutely encouraged for students to go and find opportunities, or to undertake things like internships, paid placements, relevant part-time work throughout their degree. And there's a number of ways that we can do that. One is that we as your lecturers get sent these opportunities by businesses that we've worked with before, that might have some of our graduates, knowing that our students or our graduates are of a really good quality and they want to help support their development further. And we pass those opportunities on to you. We have a really fantastic careers and employability department within the university, and that's one of the things I really wanted to highlight. I kept desperately wanting to sort of jump in and say that it's not just within each individual course and each individual school. We have an overarching careers and employability department, which you have access to. They have a jobs board that they work with employers, and there's lots of jobs that go up there, both sort of part-time work that you might do while you're studying your degree, and not necessarily just bar work or working in Tesco's, but kind of really relevant work experience to you that you can take alongside your degree to help fund your studies. Internships like over the summer, graduate opportunities. So when you've graduated from us, you want to go into that kind of first graduate job, either with a multinational company or a small local business. We get all of these kinds of jobs in as well. And what's really exciting and what's really good about the careers department is that you get access to all of the facilities for 3 years after graduation. So you might find that you've gone into a job that you thought you really wanted, and you're doing fine, but it's not quite fitting well. So you can still come back and get the support to really find something that suits you. We have a great online, as I said, we've got this online job shop, which is part of our online careers platform called Future Me, which helps with things like CV writing, CV building, interview prep, all of that kind of thing. And in the Suffolk Business School specifically, all of our degrees come with a 4-year option, which means that you can take your 3rd year as either a study abroad year or a professional placement year, which means you take a year in industry. Or if you're indecisive or you just want to have it all and you want to do both, you can do 6 months of one and 6 months of another. So there are loads of opportunities, both in the Suffolk Business School and the university more widely, to get this kind of relevant work experience that helps build your professional background for when you go into interviews in your first job. But it's not really your first job because you've already started doing the work to give you that experience and to give you that confidence.
Yeah, I think you make some really, really good points there, Susan, and particularly about it going for 3 years after you graduate. It's not that you graduate and that's it, you leave it all behind. That support remains there. And yeah, it can be critical, I guess, especially like the example you mentioned of going into a career perhaps that wasn't as you imagined, and you very quickly need to change your ideas. That can be vital.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also really good for, you've done your first year and you're looking for promotion and you're wanting to develop and continue to work towards the next stage in your career. The university is there to help support that.
Fantastic. Just looking at the questions that are coming in, it looks like we're getting questions from students who are actually going to be starting here in September or are hoping to start with us in September. David, I was just wondering if you could maybe sort of touch on what students could expect when they get here in September, sort of academically wise, what they'll be studying, maybe that transition from level 3 to level 4. I think there might be a bit of a lag here. Okay, not to worry. Not to worry. Has anyone got any experiences of students coming, particularly with first year students, what they can maybe do in the before coming to university or in that first?
In the area of for sociology, criminology, politics students, that you'll have your induction week, which is in the 20th of September. You'll get a chance to meet your tutors. A little lag. Yeah, you'll get a chance to meet your tutors at that point. You will also. Okay.
I'm not quite sure how long the lag is on this, so I think that David and myself might be talking over each other for the next couple of minutes. But I'll stop if he comes back in. Just to let you know, we've still got 5 minutes left. If you have got any questions that you would like to ask, do pop them in the chat. We will get to them. Just to let you know that clearing is open now. If you do still want to start a university here in September, you can start making your application now through clearing. We have an open day, a clearing open event on the 14th of August. If you go over to uos.ac.uk, you can sign up for clearing, for the clearing open event. You can also find out more information about how to get in touch with us, the clearing hotline, get in contact through the website. The campus is currently open for campus tours. If you do want to come and visit us here at the university, you can book a campus tour. Again, head over to the website. You can book on for a campus tour. We'll take one of our student ambassadors, will take you around, show you what the campus looks like. We are open for tours. And remember, you can follow us on social media. Now, I always get in trouble because I always miss one of these off, but we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. I remembered it. Uni of Suffolk on all of those. And you can follow us and find out what's going on at the University of Suffolk with all of the updates there. David, are you with us live? Can you hear us live? I think there's still an issue there. Okay. We will continue. So as I was asking David before about what students can perhaps expect when they arrive at the University of Suffolk, in terms of the step up perhaps from level 3 to level 4. Gavin, any ideas on what students can do to prepare for that?
The most common thing we say to when we get asked that is enjoy your summer. Don't worry about trying to prepare too much. There'll be plenty of time to apply yourself to the degree when you get here. You'll also have, staff, fellow students around to help you as well. And just enjoy your summer, in all honesty. We schedule our modules, so the order of our modules are designed in a way as well. So you're hopefully, not in a nannying protective way, but you're helped into that university level study. So in a sport and exercise context, but for example, the very first module we do is, well, what type of evidence are we looking for and how do you read evidence? How do you, if you want to know, can exercise help prevent against type 2 diabetes? Well, how would you find that out? What are credible sources of information? What training load is too much in professional football? If you train too much, what's the injury risk? How do you find that? How do you answer that scientifically? So the first module that you'll study is trying to give you those foundational skills, and then we move through into more specialist modules through the year. So enjoy your summer. There'll be plenty of weeks and months to really get to grips with your studies, but you'll have people around you to help you do that. So yeah, take some time off.
I think I can safely say that will be the most popular answer of the hour. Enjoy your summer. Very, very good. Susan, I mentioned all of the social media outlets and forgot to talk about the specific fine art one. If people want to have a look at examples of fine artwork, where should they go?
At UOS_fine art, all one word. And you can see a lot of our current students, our alumni, what they're doing. Sometimes I'll post opportunities on there for open calls to exhibit work, all kinds of stuff going on. And to answer your summer question, my response is go see as much art as you possibly can. Things are opening up again, thank the Lord, and go see work, local work, go see work in London, go see work at Colchester, at First Sight, which is a brilliant gallery museum, over in Cambridge at Kettle's Yard. There's a lot of amazing stuff, and see as much as you can.
Well, I wish you'd been my teacher. My homework was never anything like that.
That's always our homework.
I understand we've spoken an awful lot today about the academic side of university and have touched very little on the social side. Suzanne, I know you're involved with the student union here at the university. I was wondering if you could very quickly give us an overview of what the student union does, how it works, what they can offer.
Wow, the student union. So when you come to university as a student, you are automatically part of the students' union and you get to enjoy everything that the students' union has to offer. And at its most simple, I say simple, that's all of the kind of the sports and societies and all of the events that go on. So, for example, we've got various sports societies that compete on a kind of a local and national level. We've got lots of social societies, things like the film club, and I think there's an arts club, and there is a business club. And if there are societies and sports that you really want to get involved in and the Students' Union doesn't do, you can set it up. It's quite a simple process. You need sort of 3 people involved in organising it, and you need I think it's 20 signatures or something, and then you're able to set up your own sport or society. The university also has a huge range of kind of extracurricular activities, so seminar series, public lectures, events that are going on in and around Ipswich, which we get involved in, things like Spill Festival, Latitude, which is going ahead this year, which is really exciting, which we've got some of our students working at this year. Pride is a really exciting event in Suffolk, and we do find one of the really nice things about Suffolk is because we've got this fantastic atmosphere and community, our university kind of staff networks do work quite closely with some of the Students' Union clubs and societies. So, for example, I'm a member of the LGBTQIA+ network at the university, and we work really closely with the LGBT Society and the LGBTQIA officer and the Students' Union, and we've put on events for both staff and students to kind of help foster some of those conversations. So there's loads going on, and if there isn't the kind of thing that you quite want to be going on, you can set it up.
Oh, that's brilliant. You crammed an awful lot in there. Thank you very much. David, you're back. Can you hear us? Not quite. Okay, I think we are coming to the end now of today's session. Just wanted to say thank you ever so much to everyone who's posted a question today. Hopefully we've got through everything. There were an awful lot to get through. Just want to say thank you to all of my guests today. Thank you very much, Suzanne. Thank you, Gavin. Thanks, Susan. And thanks, David. You've given great answers today, a real insight into what it's like to study at the University of Suffolk. I'm sure we'll put your details on, so if students do want to get in contact with you after today's event, they can do. But thank you ever so much, and bye-bye, everyone.